Hi, AP Psych students. Today we're going to talk about Standard 3, which is about the subfields, sometimes called the domains of psychology. And so psychology, we learned about the different approaches to psychology, but in the careers in psychology, they'll take on certain aspects of each of those approaches. So for example, somebody with humanistic, like that wants to use the humanistic approach, but help athletes improve might be a sports psychologist. So, there's all different kinds of things. So today we're going to just look at the main ones that you need to know. If you've done your reading in the some more, really it lays out what do you need to know. What's the difference between a psychiatrist and a psychologist? What's the difference between clinical and counseling psychology? What's a psychometric psychologist? And what's the difference between basic research and applied research? So those are all things that you need to know. If you've watched that video and taken good notes, then you should be good to go on this. There's certain ones that you need to know, and I'm just going to go over those really quickly if you were absent on Wednesday or if you just want to run through of them, okay? So you can see the pillars of psychology, the different kinds of psychology. You've got biological psychology. That's going to be your neuroscience people. So they're looking at the biology. They're following the biological approach. And so, biopsychology or neuroscience, that's going to follow a biological approach. They're researching consciousness, that falls under biological. So we'll talk about those in different ways. Cognitive, remember cognitive psychology is all about thinking. So people that do research or do experiments or anything in intelligence, memory, perception, thinking, those are all going to fall under the cognitive pillar. Developmental is just learning over the lifetime. So that's going to be a mix of behavioral, well, it's really going to be behavioral, maybe some cognitive too, if you're thinking about the development of thinking over the long haul. Then you've got some social and personality. So you've got social psychology. They're looking at why we do the things we do. Why do people believe in conspiracy theories? All right, that is something you'd study in social psychology. Aspects of personality are emotions and motivation. Those are going to be social and personality psychology. And then you've got your mental health, people that deal with mental illnesses and psychological issues we might have. So abnormal psychology is going to deal with mental illnesses and their treatment. What kinds of therapies will work for them. You may need counseling for stress in your life or overcoming some kind of hardship, something to do with your lifestyle or your health. Those are going to fall under that mental and physical health. So anyway, that's what we're talking about. When we talk about subfields and domains, just think, what kind of careers could I do? And it's tied to the approaches. All right, one of the things you have to know, and here's another visual of it, what kind of careers could you have? And so you can see that there's all kinds of things. I always think psychology, if you are going into law, I have a law degree and I practiced law for a long time. If a psychology degree is something really good that you could use, especially if you want to be a litigator. So you could use forensic psychology or psychology in relation to the law, or just being able to cross-examine people effectively. Psychology is not a bad way to go. A lot of kids go into pre-law. I'm not a big believer in that. I always believe you should get a bachelor's degree in something you could use if you leave the law. Look at me, I left the law. Lots of people leave the law. It's very stressful. And so you want to be able to do something else. So I say get a business degree or something like that. But anyway, that's beside the point. So there's just lots of different subfields that are involved in psychology. There's so much you can do with psychology. In the next few slides, you want to watch anything that has the two little red asterisks. Those are the ones that usually appear on the test, okay? And think about, as you look at those, what kind of approach would they use in that form of psychology? All right, first thing you got to know is the difference between basic research and applied research. Basic research is research that's being done to basically add to the field of scientific knowledge. It doesn't have to just be in psychology. This could be anywhere. This is research that, just because we're curious, why does this happen? What do we do? So, for example, a study was just done. We actually do an experiment, but they just did another study on it. Like, if we smile more, will that make us feel happier? the studies are showing, yes, it does. So you can, but just by smiling, you can make yourself feel a little bit happier. But, just wanting to know that is new knowledge, or, sometimes they look at old knowledge. Most of the time, basic research is going to be done in universities. Okay. They're not usually looking to turn a profit or anything. They're just expanding our knowledge. Then you have applied research. That's research that's usually designed to solve a problem. And so they want to fix something. And so they're going to make an application for the research. A lot of times they will take the basic research and then find an application that they can use. So this is about solving problems. So when you look at the careers, you're going to see, is it a basic research career? Well, that's somebody that's out there just doing research, maybe some experiments, things like that. Applied research, they're looking for an application. Can they fix something? So for example, if you found in basic research that people with lower serotonin levels are more likely to suffer from depression, okay, that would be a basic research question. What's happening with neurotransmitters to make us feel depressed, okay? But applied research is going to be research directed at taking that information and trying to fix it, okay? So can we find a drug that will restore serotonin levels or increase serotonin levels that will help people be less depressed? Oftentimes there's a commercial interest, okay? Because if we can find a new drug that, cures depression, well, that's going to have some money to it. So applied research, well, it can be done in a university, if they're looking to patent something or something like that. And I used to work in tech transfer, so we were looking for that. But generally, it's going to be done in companies or corporations or things like that. But it's also done by psychologists. They're trying to use that basic research to solve your personal problems as well. So basic versus applied. So you're going to see that the different careers, you can see if they're basic research careers, that means it's going to be more experimental, more learning new things, or applied. They're going to use information to help fix problems, solve problems, those kind of things. Okay. So let's look at the basic research subfields, okay? Again, subfield, just equate it with careers. Cognitive psychology, this is one that can appear on your test. That is studying mental processes. How do we remember things? Why do we remember certain things and not the other? So it's going to look at your thinking, your memory, your attention. Language actually falls under cognitive psychology. We really haven't talked about that. And so, how does it affect our brain if we're bilingual or if we're trilingual? Okay, what does it make changes in our brain? We just want to find out. That's a basic research. Developmental psychologists, this comes up all the time. They are going to study physical, cognitive, and social development of people as they age over the lifespan. They call it, and this is very famous and it pops up on the test every once in a while, from the womb to the tomb. So they're going to just study social, psychological, brain development, cognitive development, and physical development from the time that you are developing in the womb till the time you die. So now a developmental psychologist may specialize. They might specialize on child development. They might specialize on elderly, but the subfield focuses from the womb to the tomb. It goes for the lifespan, over your lifespan. An educational psychologist is going to help with how can we make teaching practices more effective to help kids learn. And that's what they're going to do. Once in a while that pops on there. Experimental psychology, we're going to talk about that in the research, but those are researchers who are doing experiments. We're going to look at a lot of different experiments, okay? So another one is psychometrics. So hopefully you've done your reading. Psychometrics are kind of like stats. If you wanted to combine psychology and math, you might become a psychometrician, okay? Psychometric psychology, they call it. Those are the people that analyze the data. They help generate data, and then they help analyze the data. And so, we could be measuring our intelligence. We could be measuring traits, like how optimistic are you, things like that. And so they're going to help create tests that will measure that. So if it talks about testing and measurement, that's going to be psychometrics or a psychometrician, or it'll say psychometric psychologist. So any of those things can be used. Social psychologists are going to look at how groups affect our individual behavior, those kind of things. Personality is looking at personality characteristics. Personality doesn't really come up that much. All right, then you get to your applied one, a forensic psychologist. This is where the law ties in. So if you're really interested in psychology and the law, then how forensic psychology are going to be involved in criminal investigations. I can't think of the TV show, Criminal Minds. This is the forensic psychology. A forensic psychologist will help lawyers pick juries, okay? And so, give you a good idea as to what kind of juror you want and, what kind of questions you should ask the jurors to get to the jury you want. So sometimes you might, as an attorney, going into a big trial, consult with a forensic psychologist, okay? They also deal with public policy related to that. Environmental really doesn't come up, health psychologist. The next one is definitely on the test. It's always on the test, and that's industrial organizational. And that is applying psychological principles to the workplace. How can we make people more efficient? If workers are happier and they produce more, how do we set up processes to keep the workers happy so they produce more? How can we get people on a factory line to be more efficient? What are some psychological principles we can use to make our workers happier, make them more efficient, make the production value better? Human factors used to be on the exam, and they've taken it off the list. I'm just going to hit it for you. That's human factors is how you interact with machines, how humans interact with machines. So they might research driving, okay, because that's a machine that we drive, and how to make driving safer or something like that. Neuropsychologist is looking at, that's the biological approach. They're looking at your brain and neurons and things like that. So that is neuropsychology. All right, they're going to do research and figure out, again, like the issue of serotonin and depression. Okay, let's see, rehabilitation, school psychologist, sports psychologist, you can guess what they do. All right, a psychiatrist. You need to know what a psychiatrist is. A psychiatrist is different than other psychologists because they are medical doctors. A psychiatrist has to go to medical school, okay? That's lots of training. I think it's about 11 years of training. So they are a medical doctor and they can write prescriptions. That's the big thing that you need to know about psychiatrists. They're going to deal with serious mental health issues, okay? Schizophrenia, something very serious a psychiatrist is going to deal with. Sometimes psychologists work in conjunction with a psychiatrist because the psychiatrist will write the prescriptions and then the psychologist will do the therapy, right? But just remember, they write prescriptions and they have a medical degree. All right, the other ones you want to know, what's the difference between a clinical psychologist and a counseling psychologist? Clinical is just under psychiatrists. They're going to treat more serious mental illnesses, but they don't have a medical degree. They probably have a master's degree or PhD, but they are also dealing with psychological disorders, okay? So they might be doing the therapy for the schizophrenic who has medication from their psychiatrist, okay? So clinical, very serious. Counseling is, I got a life issue, it's a more temporary situation. Someone I love just died and I'm having trouble getting over it. I hate my job and I want to start a new career. I just got divorced or I'm in the process of getting a divorce. They're going to help you get over, those kind of hurdles. So counseling is more in trying to make myself feel better. Clinical is more, I've got a mental illness and I'm trying to deal with it, okay? Community psychologist pops up all the time. So if you see something about, it really has to say something about community. So how we can make our communities more healthy, how we interact with our communities. That's community psychology. And then a new one, this hasn't been on the exam before, but it's on the list for sure, is positive psychology. And that is, how can I grow? It's very humanistic. And so if it sounds like humanistic and humanistic isn't available, it's probably positive psychology. How can I grow? How can I thrive? How can we help the community thrive? It's all positive. So it's positive psychology. So those are really that's the end of it. Those are really the ones you want to know. Think about counseling versus clinical, know what psychometrics are, and know the difference between a psychologist and a psychiatrist. Those are going to be the main ones. And if you know these ones that have the double stars, you should be solid. Most of the other ones you can figure out without even knowing. So that's it.